France, the Soviet Union. But what about China? Maybe they decided to give China a seat as a permanent member as a token to non-European humanity. Token. No. We can't even dignify it with that, because we know from our study of what is called in diplomatic language the travaux préparatoires. When we study it, we know the reason why they gave China that seat was because they thought that Chiang Kai-shek would have sat there, and Chiang Kai-shek was Christian. They did not anticipate the communist revolution in China. And so by accident, a non-European state sits in the Security Council. Non-European not only in race, but non-European in religion. The permanent members of the Security Council possess something called a veto power. And so you can pass as many resolutions as you want, condemning the state of Israel for whatever it's doing. All that the United States of America has to do is to say no. And the entire opinion of the whole world is put into a garbage bin. That Security Council it was intended would eventually go into world government. And we are now at a point in time where we can in fact see the evidence of the march towards world government. Economic sanctions against Libya, against Iraq, against Serbia are the opening shots in the emergence of that world government. Nuclear non-proliferation, while of course they maintain their nuclear armament. The rest of you must not ever get nuclear weapons. Non-proliferation of ballistic technology, while they have it, but Pakistan must not get it. And so we see in the United Nations the emergence of that world government which eventually will exercise total control over the whole world. This is the political scenario. There is one more left with which we'll end. It is not just politics. It is also economics. When the French Revolution took place, although Rousseau didn't write about it, the most important change that took place, other than the transformation to a godless society, little do we know about it, was that the French economy was transformed. How many of us know that the Christian church in Europe for more than 500 years fought a tremendous battle against riba? How many of us know that Christian clergymen, Christian scholars have written more brilliantly on riba than most living Muslim scholars today? How many of us have read the work of that great English sheikh who wrote on riba? A historic work. The name of the Sheikh? Shakespeare. The name of the book? Merchant of Venice. That's compulsory reading. Merchant of Venice is compulsory reading. I understood the Quran by reading Merchant of Venice. That's why I call him a sheikh. If you read Shakespeare and Merchant of Venice, you will understand that Europe was waging a war against riba. And Shakespeare was simply articulating it literally. R.W. Tawney, T-A-W-N-E-Y, wrote a classic and published it in 1935. Religion and the Rise of Capitalism, compulsory reading, in which he made a historical review of the great struggle waged by the Christian church against riba. That battle was lost in the French Revolution. The most important thing that took place in the French Revolution was that the economy was now transformed into an economy based on riba. Riba, of course, is best known in the form of borrowing and lending money on interest. There are other forms of riba, and perhaps on some other occasion we can get a chance to speak on this subject. From France, riba now traveled all over Europe. One by one the walls were broken. One by one the walls were broken. Or perhaps it was Allah bringing down the walls. جَعَلَهُ دَكَّا. And riba therefore took control of Europe. I want to focus for a moment on one form of riba, not the borrowing and lending on interest. That is riba nasi'a. Another form of riba, which is described as riba al-fadl. In France it started. There was an Englishman named John Law, and he started it in France. Printed paper, and got the French government to accept it as money. Paper becomes money. So you can create money. Wealth is no longer created by Allah alone. We can now create wealth. वो तो असली है, ये तो नकली है. That remains, this will collapse. But when it collapses, a lot of people are going to lose a lot of money. And so paper money comes into being. Initially, with bankers. And then when the government saw a good thing, they wanted to get their hands on it. So they took it over from the bankers. And now the government now becomes an expert counterfeiter. And then they want to arrest us for counterfeiting. Paper money comes into being. And Europe starts printing paper money. And then, at the end of the Second World War, by which time Europe had colonized the rest of the world and brought the rest of the world into being as nation states, all the rest of the world want to start printing their own paper. Pakistan comes into being. Pakistan wants to print paper as well and call it money. Saudi Arabia wants to print paper as well. So Europe says, we've got to do something about all of this paper. We want to control all of this paper. And so they held a conference in upstate New York in 1945, a place called Bretton Woods. And in Bretton Woods, an international monetary system came into being, which said that no, you must have some link with gold. Otherwise, the people will see this is all fraud. There must be a link with gold. The British argued, John Maynard Keynes, The Americans argue